This is the Black Bible.
Welcome back to the Black Bible, where we are just two kids with a whole lot of words.
At this point, I'm going to have to change the tagline.
Okay, what's the tagline?
It's two siblings with a whole lot of words.
See, so close, close.
Siblings, kids, it's same thing.
It's not, but I'll get it.
Close
I promise.
enough, though.
I promise. I get it. Let me rewind it. Welcome back to the Black. Let me try that one more time. Welcome back to the Black Bible, where we are two siblings with a whole lot of words.
Correct.
And today's topic, we are talking about looking forward.
And so I know last week we talked about forgetting the past. And of course, as I was doing these points, I was saying, you know what, it is kind of sort of true, like the past and the future in a way is kind of connected.
Mhm.
So with that being said, there's going to be a lot of points that we make that may overlap, but
Mhm.
the core message is that now that you've forgotten the past, it's time for you to look forward.
Mhm.
And so when we look at Isaiah 43, verse 18 to 19, we see that, or at least verse 18,
Mhm.
we see that it's broken up into two parts, right?
Mhm.
So we see the first part, but forget all that. It's nothing compared to what I'm going to do, right? Part A. It actually may be 18 and 19. Either way, this section is broken up into two parts. And so again, forget all that. We see that that's talking about forgetting the past. What has happened before is nothing compared to what I'm about to do now.
Right.
For I am about to do something new. See, it has already begun, or I have already begun. Do you not see it? That is talking about looking forward.
Yep.
And so I find it interesting that we see God make this declaration, and then he asks this question at the end, do you not see it? Like, I am about to do something new. As a matter of fact, I have already begun. Do you not see this new thing that I'm starting to do?
So I think the fact that God asks this question should ring some bells, right? It automatically, our little spidey senses should be tingling, because then if God is doing a new thing and we're not seeing it, then our question should be, why are we not seeing it, right? Why are we not looking forward to seeing the new things that God is doing? And or we stated before, why are we not seeing how God is already moving, right? And so you wrote, I'm not going to take credit for that. You wrote that as people, we've gotten one track minded, that we forget two things can be true at the same time. That we forget, we can love someone and still be angry at them. Or another thing we could forget is that we can forgive someone and still be uncomfortable in their presence in your life, or not give them full access, which is something we completely forget. That forgiveness does not equal access unless you're Jesus. And because he has washed away our sins through his sacrifice, he has given us access to the holiest of holies, to the high priest, to God himself.
I say he has not given us the role of high priest.
I almost messed that all the way up. He has given us access to God himself. But because we are not Jesus, forgiveness for us does not mean that we have to let a person back into our lives. It does not mean that we have to give them access to our everyday life or back into the community that we built. We can forgive and still have boundaries, right? And you can live in the present and still look forward to the future. I think that's something that we also need to remember. However, the problem is when you live in the moment and you only live for the moment, you're going to make decisions that can impact your future.
And I think to answer the question that we just asked, like, that's one of the things that stops people from looking forward. Like, I know we live in a culture to where, and I think biblically wise, we always say in the church, tomorrow is not promised unto you.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and one of the verses, I must work while it is day, because when night cometh, no
No
man can work. Like stuff like that. So we see is not just cultural wise, but even biblically wise, there's this sense of like, you know what, make the best of every day.
Yeah.
But I think there's a huge difference in between you making the best of every day and you solely living just for a moment.
Yeah.
Right. One of the examples I was thinking of is okay. And I laughed to myself because when I was writing these points, I was waiting on an Amazon package, and I got the package, and in that package was 2 mangas and from a series that I really loved. And so I went on Amazon and looked it up, and come to find out that there's 6 other mangas to the series.
What
right?
a world.
And the series is finished. And so earlier that morning, I had taken some money and had set it aside, like, you know what, hey, this game is coming out. I'm going to put some money aside so that when pre-orders open up, I can just go ahead and pre-order it, no problems, no worries. But because in the moment, I'm like, man, I really want the full set.
Yeah.
I wonder if I should take that money now. And then justifying it, being like, you know, hey, you know, of course, between now and then, I'm going to get the money back to pre-order this XYZ ABC. But eventually I decided not to.
Right.
Because I came up with the idea of like, you know what, hey, every time I get a little bit of money, the manga is only $10.
Yeah.
Like I just buy it, the other 6 as I go along.
Yeah.
Like that was me looking forward to the future, rather than just being like, you know what, I have this want, I have this need, I have this desire for this thing in this moment. I need to do what I need to do to get this, even if that means sacrificing something that will come about in the future.
I also think that it's you could take it at looking at this, right? There sometimes when I'm at work and I'm looking at something and I'm getting frustrated, I go, that's a tomorrow Yasmin's problem. And close my laptop or move on. Especially if it's the end of the day, I'm like, that's a tomorrow Yasmin's problem, because then I can't figure it out right now. It's making me frustrated. It's 2 minutes to the bell. You know, like I'm thinking of, okay, if I can just go home, eat a meal, go to sleep, have, you know, a fresh brain after been sitting at this desk for 8 hours, I'll come up with the proper solution tomorrow. You know, instead of living for I'm here today and I'm here right now and I should just do this now. This problem, if not solved correctly, is going to come and bite me in the butt.
Right.
So that's a tomorrow Yasmin's problem, because tomorrow Yasmin will have a clear head. Tomorrow Yasmin will be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed with a nice cup of coffee. Tomorrow her head will be clear. Right now it's time to go home. Like I said, especially if it's at the end of the day, it's like, no, it's time to go home. I don't want to make no more decisions today. This is a tomorrow problem. So I think that, in not just like for you, like in your case, I'm deciding to not spend the money and make other plans, but also like I'm deciding to not answer this phone call right now because I'm not in the space to answer this phone call. And if I answer it in the space that I'm in, I'm going to lose a friend or somebody gonna
lose a head,
something that they didn't deserve. So I'm not going to answer this phone call, or I'm not going to answer this email. I'm going to just take a moment and just like breathe and let that be a tomorrow problem. Let that be a tomorrow issue, because right now it's not pertinent. Right now it's not life or death. And if you are dying, I am not a doctor. Call 911, you know, and that type of thing.
And I also think when we think about sin is purely an in the moment thing.
Yeah.
Like sin, whether it's lust, whether it's unrighteous anger, whatever the sin is purely for that moment satisfaction. It's like the little devil on the shoulder in the old cartoon to be like, if you do this, if you go off on this person, if you go to this website, if you engage in this conversation, like you'll feel better. Okay. Or even even if we go back to my example that's taken a different sense, even fulfilling certain desires that is not inherently sinful, but it could lead you down to sin, like dating the wrong person, or you're dating the right person, but again, we're all human. I think you said it a long time ago in February when we were talking about romantic relationships. Different things set off different people. You got to know what sets your jets off. But hey, look, you and this person is in this public, private, or private space, and y'all getting close, and then things start happening. Again, the in the moment feeling is like, let things just pop off, and let it lead where it leads. But looking forward is like, no, if we end up doing this, maybe we don't have the proper things to prevent other things from happening down the road. This can happen, that can happen, XYZ ABC. So, but I think the point of the matter is that sometimes it's hard when you're in the moment to not live in that moment. It's hard to look. It's hard to look. It's I guess when you see the bigger picture, quote unquote, but it's hard to like, okay, especially when this is something that you are really desiring, or something that the flesh is really desiring, or something that, you know what, again, it's not inherently sinful, and it may, and in certain cases it would actually be good for you. But by you doing this, by you buying this, by you going to this place, by you sacrificing, instead of going to work, you go and hang out with your friends. Your friends aren't bad for, hopefully your friends aren't bad for you, but
sorry. Yes, I hear you. And it is, I don't want to say hypocritical, but it would be remiss of us to say, oh yeah, this is easy. It is not. It is not. Especially when you're young and dumb. It is not when your frontal lobe is not developed. It's not easy, because intrinsically, we are, because of sin, curses, we intrinsically, we by nature want to choose the thing that satisfies us now. Like, we as human beings, and we live in a culture, we live in a society where it's now satisfaction. It is just recently where people are like, the rich keep getting richer because the rich don't satisfy the now, they satisfy the later, and it's just now that it's dawned on those who are not a part of the upper 1% that, we love Jordans, but we don't need every pair. Maybe we take some of this Jordan money and invest it. We won't see it now, but we will see it later. It's now people are thinking of that. Before, we were, our society, especially American society, is very much now. What do I want now? And that's how overconsumption happens. That's how a lot of overconsumerism happens. That's why capitalism works so well. That's why marketing works so well. Telemarketing works so well. How do you think QVC still exists? They're able to convince people that you need this pot.
And you need it
today. And if you call now, you get 10% off. And the guy is making it look like this magical pot is going to make you cook better, even though you have no skills. Like, they're able to sell it to you because they're like able to satisfy this desire that you have now. And there is no, wait, I need to just go and buy me a regular pot from Walmart,
get my
skills up. Then I could get this pot, invest in these pots. I don't have the skills, so why would I buy this pot and burn this pot when I could get one from Walmart? I could burn those pots. They're gonna burn anyway. They thin as paper. But I could buy these sheet pots. I could get my skills up. Or there's no hope for a dope on a Periscope. I need to go to cooking class. I mean, the truth is the truth. You might need to go to class. You might need to invest some time with an instructor. Or you're like, I'm going to put actual hours in on YouTube University and teach myself how to cook with this basic pot set before I invest in an expensive pot set. But when we're watching QVC and the guy's like, now for 39, 3 payments of $39.99. We're like, wait a minute, it's just $39.99 and I'm getting 6 pots instead of 1 pot for $39.99.
6 pots and a complimentary knife set.
And a complimentary knife set. And look at him go. That chicken looks so good. You don't have the skills for said chicken. You don't even know what chicken look like before it's cooked. You don't know how to dice, slice, or julienne anything with that knife set. What are you doing? Satisfying your now pleasure. Yes. Can I get Mary from Idaho?
Oh, no.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no.
You know,
the call out's crazy.
But that's what they do.
Do.
Like you get it, and you get it now. You have this now. You satisfy this now. And then for sin is crazy. You satisfy this now. And then you go, why did I do that?
And then the thing about, and the funny thing about it is that a couple hours later, if you're not careful,
you do the same thing.
You do the same thing. And then when you get done, you ask, now why did I do that? And then guess what? Tomorrow, if you're not careful, you're back to the same thing. But when we think about living in the moment, I really and truly believe it's not all negative.
No.
Like, I really truly believe that, you know what, there are some moments that, yes, you live in.
Yeah.
Like, if you're at a family, not even at a family dinner, live in the moment when you're sitting down and eating with your family.
For sure.
Or if you're hanging out with your friends.
Yeah. Or
if you're taking a me day and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go to the museum because I want to see this. I just want to go out.
Yeah.
Like, live in the moment, but not being so caught up in the moment that you don't think about what comes next.
Yeah.
And so I think the apostles of old were like the best people when it came to both living in the moment and looking forward to what comes next.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see that the apostles really did believe that Jesus was coming back in their lifetime.
Yeah. So
they were looking forward to the King's return. But they were also living in the moment, or living day by day, by establishing the church, upholding Jesus's teachings, and doing the work that was set before them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't look so much forward to the King's return that they just sat down and twiddled their thumbs and be like, man, Jesus taking a while. Like, but at the same time, they weren't so living in the moment that they were so tunnel vision on what they were doing in the now, that it became more about what they were doing, more about them and them getting the glory, them getting the honor, them being established as these men of faith, instead of making sure that everything that they're doing is pointing back to the good news, is pointing back to Christ, and is pointing back again to his eventual return.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think one of the biggest verses, at least for me, that takes this notion of being in the moment and still looking forward is found in Romans 8 verse 18, where, if I remember correctly, our good friend Paul, the Hamilton of the New Testament, he said, yet what we suffer now is nothing compared to the glory he will reveal to us later. So if you look a bit earlier above, like, it does talk about being children of God. And if we are children of God, then we will reign. And if we are heirs, we will reign with Christ, but also to reign with Christ, to reign with God. To reign with Christ, we also must suffer with with Christ, right? I love that Paul didn't deny that the suffering was not going to hurt. And he didn't deny that the suffering wasn't going to be challenging. Paul didn't say we must suffer, but don't worry, it's going to be suffering on light mode. Like, it's not even going to feel like suffering. It's going to feel like when you get bit by a mosquito and it's kind of itchy for like the first 3 hours, but then you forget that it's there. Like, he didn't say that this suffering is going to be fun and easy. But what he did say is that what we suffer is nothing compared to the glory that's going to be revealed later. So I think when we look at this verse, it's easy to say, okay, what we suffer for Christ, which is true. But I think we could take this idea of suffering, like the sacrifice, and instead of saying suffering, but the sacrifices that we make. Yeah. Because we just don't make sacrifices for the kingdom, we make sacrifices for our future. Yeah. And so when I think about this verse in this context. The suffering that comes from the sacrifices that we make now is nothing compared to what is going to be birthed out of the sacrifices that we make.
Agreed.
I will say if that made any sense.
It makes perfect sense.
And so, again, I love that. And I don't think Paul said this anywhere in his writings. He didn't say to shut your eyes off to the present. Paul didn't say, hey, yo, look, bro, all you got to do is, I guess, keep your eyes on the cross, but keep your eyes on the cross. Like, stare for it so much you can't even see if there's a pebble in front of you.
Right.
Paul didn't say that. But he lets us know, again, to like reiterate that the pushbacks that we're getting from trying to enter into a field that's known for keeping people of color out of it, or is known for keeping women out of those fields, or men for out of those fields, or the struggles of birthing a vision that God has given us, or the choices that we make not to sin, even though we know that, you know what, this sin will feel really good, will feel really good in a moment, or the struggle that we have to kind of like not conform and push off the ideologies of the world and really hold on to Christ and hold tight to the identity that he has given us. Or if we could even kind of bring it out of this, not really abstract, but bring it more concrete, the struggle to hold on to the right friends and to let go of the wrong people.
Amen to
or
that.
the struggles that come from holding on to that right relationship and not being drawn away, saying, you know what, hey, maybe there is quote unquote better for me out there. Or the struggle that comes with walking in this life that God has for us. Like Paul lets us know that, hey, look, that struggle now is nothing compared to all the good that is going to be birthed out of you going through the struggle.
I think another verse that Paul talks about that we don't write here, but it sticks to me all the time, is Philippians 3, right? Philippians 3 verses 13 and 14. And part B of that says 13, or part B says, forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead, I press on to reach the end of the race and receive the heavenly prize for which God through Christ Jesus is calling us. So last week we did talk about forgetting the past, right? And so Paul is like, listen, this is what I focus on. I'm not focused on what's behind me, but I push through what is happening now,
living in the moment,
to reach the end,
looking forward
of the race and receive the prize. So like, I love that Paul never said, like you said, Paul never said that this is going to be easy. Paul says, listen, I'm not focused on the past, which we talked about last week, because we're not going that way. Right. I'm not too focused on the present that I forget what the goal is, but I'm not too focused on the goal that I forget that I need to push through this, because then we get so excited about, oh, the Lord is coming back. Yes, that we forget that there's things we got to do here to make sure when he come back, we could go there. Right. And it's the same way, not just with Christ coming back, with our everyday life, right? There's some people who are so happy about the end of something, they forget that they got to go through this to get to the end, right? You don't graduate high school if you don't pass classes. Oh, I'm so ready to be a senior. You have to pass math, right? You can't, if you fail math, you're not graduating. And I had new funny story. It was the end of senior year. We're practicing for graduation, and here comes the counselor. I need to see such and such, such and such, such and such. And this is at graduation practice. Okay, this is not weeks before. This is not months before. This is graduation practice, meaning it is April. No, it is May, actually. It is May. Graduation is in a few days. Like literally in a few days. We got a test and a cough before graduation. And we're sitting in the gym. Not the gym. We're sitting in the auditorium going through graduation practice. It's till 2015, so we done sung the song, blah blah blah, alma mater. walk the stage, going through graduation practice. And in graduation practice, here comes the senior counselor. I need to see such and such, such and such, such and such, such and such, as such and such, this person, that person, this person, that person, and another. I need you to see me at my office. There were people who I knew whose names were called. They were not graduating. Again, this was a test and a cough before graduation. How you gonna graduate? You don't go to class. So focused on, this end, I'm finally ready to get out of here. But you don't come to class to do the things to get out of here. Paul's like, I'm not so heavenly minded that I forget that I got things on earth to do that's going to make sure that I get there. But I'm not so focused on the press that I forget that what the end goal is. The end goal is I'm going to reach the end and receive the prize. But I got to go through this first. And that's the one that I like about Paul. Yes, our Hamilton of the New Testament.
And so I think it's funny now when we talk about looking forward and even coming off of that verse, and we talk about how we need to now get back to the mindset that there are two truths that can exist at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Then the reality is that in this case, we need to accept that truth A, you can have growing pains and struggle in the present.
Yeah.
And truth B, but yet still have a beautiful finish.
Oh yeah.
So I think this is where discernment comes into play, because sometimes difficulty is not an indication of disobedience. Sometimes struggles and challenges and roadblocks is not God trying to tell you that you're going in the wrong way. That is very much, I think, sometimes when we meet these struggles, when we meet these roadblocks, when we meet these challenges, is God saying, hey, I need you to show some grit.
Yeah.
I need you to dig your heels in, or I need you to go. I need you to push past this. Like, this isn't to derail you. This isn't to stop you. This isn't to tell you to throw in the towel. This is to tell you to push. This is to tell you to fight. This is to tell you to, like, ayo, look, if this is something you really want, you're going to have to push through this thing to get it. But the reality is that if we only focus on the discomfort that comes from the struggle, if we only focus on that, then we're going to, of course, we're going to throw in the towel. Of course, we're not going to go to God and ask, hey, God, is this you trying to redirect me? Or is this you telling me to push through this? We're going to be like, no, clearly it's a sin. Clearly this is disobedience. Ain't no way that this is within the will of God and God's going to have me go through this and have me meet all these challenges. So clearly this is God trying to, like, save me from myself. So you know what, God, I thank you. I'm going to go back this way. And God's looking at you like,
what you doing?
I ain't tell you to go back that way.
It's so funny. And I don't know how this is related, but in hearing you speak, I'm remembering that I came across a video that Kirk Franklin posted about when his speech, when he accepted the Impact Award. And the part of his speech that had me like, the pen of this man, right? Is that he says, he's basically stating that, he's been in the gym and he's been with his trainer for so long that he doesn't even ask his trainer how much he lifts. He just lifts whatever the trainer has given him. And it is so funny because once he said it, I said, I see where you're going, sir. I see exactly where you're going. And I'm like, yo, been with God for so long that at this point, at some point you just got to be like, all right, God, bro, what? Cool. We're just moving right along. And the day we can get to that is the day we have mastered ourselves. Because then when we can really and truly say, you know what, I'm not even asking how much you're telling me to lift, because how much I can lift. And if you're putting it in my hand, I can lift it. So I'm not even going to ask how much this is. I'm just going to lift. If you haven't listened to, it's very short. It's short as a short, okay? And it makes perfect sense. If you start to focus on, man, this is heavy, man, this is tough, man, and not also like just on the negative, but also not keeping your mind open to, okay, this is another day, this is another lift. And I trust that God is going to put me in this, God is putting me in position to lift this, because he's never going to give me anything that's too heavy for me to lift. So it feels heavy, but it might be because I'm stronger than I think I am. And I've been lifting 120, and God's like, so here's an extra 5 pounds.
125.
And you're like struggling. And in the struggle, in the moment, everything is telling you to quit. But then if you keep your eye beyond the pain of the extra 5 pounds and see the bigger picture, I think that's what the apostles really were able to see. They were able to see the bigger picture, right? As Peter, who was as close to Jesus as Peter was and had issues even after Jesus left, Peter still saw the bigger picture. You know, like, the Lord is coming back. He might come back today, but also I have things to do. He has commissioned me to spread this gospel, and that is what I have to do. Mind you, I got issues. Mind you, he got problems. And yes, Paul basically like does the things. He does a lot of things, writes a lot of letters, goes a lot of places, becomes the champion for the Gentiles. Yeah, you know, like, but again, these apostles who saw Jesus go up in a cloud didn't get so tunnel vision on going up with him that they forgot what he left them to do. Yes, it got hard. Yes, they was running people down. Yes, the world seemed to get vast overnight because Rome basically grew, like, you know. So yes, this word needed to be spread to more corners of the earth, but it did not negate the fact that they had to get done and that they were the ones who commissioned to get it done. We can't go up if we don't do what we got to do. So I think, like you said, if we're focused so much on this, we forget that, the wider picture. And if we are so much looking at the broad, sometimes we forget the small, the things that we need to get there. And so there must be balance
at the end of the day. And I think it all comes back down to balance.
There must be balance. You cannot be so heavenly minded that you're so no earthly good, but you can't be so earthly minded that you forget where you're trying to go. There has to be balance. You have to be some earthly good and be heavenly minded, especially since the end is actually really near. So I think it all comes down to balance. We must keep the bigger picture in mind, looking forward, but while we have to look forward through the lens of today, right? Through a wide lens of today. Today needs to get done, but there's a bigger picture. There's a bigger picture.
I'm weak.
I realized I wasn't talking to the mic when I felt the air on my hand. And I'm done monologuing. We gotta look at tomorrow through the lens of today. Amen.
And yeah, I don't think aside from your mic blunder, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. I think the reality is, and as usual, more can be said, but the truth is, if I could put a spin to what you said, you can't get to where you're going if you don't take the steps if you don't start to take the steps.
Yeah,
I think, what is the quote? A journey of 1,000 miles begins
with one step.
That's literally what this is.
Yeah. So we forget the past. We learn from it. And whatever Rafiki said in The Lion King, he said something profound, and I can't remember. I can't remember bar for bar what he said. But we forget the past, we learn from it, and we use the lessons from the past to fuel our present, to propel us to our future.
Well said.
So this has been another episode of the Black Bible. My name is Yasmin.
My name is Yvain.
And we will see you guys next time.